What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome into episode 191, everybody. I am your host, SleezBall. Today's episode is going to be my Week 17 Fantasy Football Championship running back top 36 rankings. We're going to dive into this, hoping to get you guys that ship this week. Before we look at all the rankings, guys, make sure you smash that like. Make sure you hit that subscription. Helps me out a ton. Turn that bell on. I will be live tomorrow for our Christmas stream before the games kick off at 10 a.m. So Merry Christmas as well to you and your guys' family. Happy holidays. Hope you guys have a great one. And let's look into my running back rankings top 36 for the championship this week. So if you guys are new to the channel, this is my running back board here for week 17. At the bottom, you're going to see injuries that happened last week. And there is some stipulations we have to look at here with how it's going to play out with the teams that are eliminated from the playoffs here. So we had James Conner go down last week in the game. I had him as RB1. He was going to be RB1, man. He was lighting up the Panthers. And you had Kenneth Walker get a little banged up. So I'm going to break down their rankings if they play. It's a short week for Seattle, so it could be Charbonnet out there. Alvin Kamara missed last week. Kendre Miller stepped in. I told you guys Kendre Miller would not be good last week versus the Packers. That was one of the easiest calls. I can't believe people started him. Bong on that one. But we're going to get to these questions and comments throughout the video as they go, like throughout the week. If you guys want to drop another comment in, you can, because we got to wait for these injury statuses to drop. But I am going to drop my rankings and put them in the tier. So like if I think Alvin Kamara is going to be out there, I'll put him in the tier I think he's going to be over here. Same with Kenneth Walker, Charbonnet, James Conner, and so forth, so on, right? So diving into the rankings here, let's get that fantasy football championship here, guys. Running back number 1 on the week. Is there really anyone else to name besides Saquon Barkley forever? Of course, he doesn't pop off in the first round of the playoffs, but then he goes absolutely nuclear in the second round after I got knocked out with a couple teams with him, which hurts. But you're going to get the Dallas Cowboys this week. Dallas Cowboys defense versus the run already gives up 24.4 points. You're at home in Philly. They rank 18th in the red zone. They allow 93.9 yards, 1 touchdown a game, which is tied for second last. Saquon, division game here. You're smashing him as the RB1 easy. Number 2, Jahmyr Gibbs was the funnest thing to watch in fantasy football. I hate to say it because of a David Montgomery injury, but dude, I was glued to that game. This guy is electric. If he ever, I know they just extended David Montgomery too, but if he ever gets the RB1 chance like he had last week, this guy will break fantasy football. He will be the top scorer. It's unbelievable to watch him out there as the guy. Running back number 3, Jonathan Taylor. Absolutely saved everyone in fantasy football that started him last week. Dropped a 50-burger, 218 yards, the hat trick touchdown. You're going to get the New York Giants this week, and the New York Giants allowed 25.3 points to the running back. If you are not starting Jonathan Taylor, we need to have a serious talk here. Running back number 4, Bijan Robinson. He has exploded down the second half of this season. He has absolutely been what was advertised at the beginning. You know, it was a weird start to start off with the Tyler Algier split. Then you had Arthur Smith last year as the OC. That hurt him as well. But the Atlanta Falcons, big win. Michael Penix entered in. They got the Giants. It was kind of an easy win. Now, the Atlanta Falcons are tied up with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is going to be a monster 2 weeks here in fantasy football. They get the Commanders. Commanders are kind of already locked in at 10-5, right? I'm not going to say the Commanders are going to roll over in any single way. They could still lose out and get eliminated at 10-7 if the Bucs and Falcons both went out. So Commanders are going to be out here fighting as well. Now, when you're looking at the Commanders' defense, they switched to single high about week 5, 6. They saved their defense a lot. Dan Quinn deserves a massive coach award for it. They rank 13th versus the running back, 21.7 points given up, 9th in the red zone, 113.5 yards allowed, which is bottom 5 in the NFL, and a 90% chance for 1 touchdown for the running back. You are smashing Bijan Robinson out there. Number 5, Kyren Get Silly Williams is coming off that game against the Jets. He had another big game, found the end zone again. This guy was always the workhorse. He was always going to be the workhorse. Blake Corum looking good as he came in, took a couple snaps here, looked good in the game. You're going to get the Cardinals here. Now, the Cardinals, like I said, we don't know about James Conner, so I'm just going to put James Conner right here in tier 2 because that's where he would be if he's starting. And I'm going to put Kenneth Walker in tier 2 as well. And And I'm going to put Alvin Kamara in tier 1. if he was out there in this game. So I'm just going to leave those there for now. As we break through it, I'll talk about it more here because it's going to be a weird injury week here coming up. So, played the New York Jets last week. Jets, actually, not a bad run D that he went up against. He went up against the top 7 run D and crushed them. And the Rams are fighting now. And the Rams now get the Arizona Cardinals. They rank 26th, giving up 24.9 points. They're playoff eliminated. Their defense is decimated. And the Rams are fighting for that spot. Kyren Williams is going to absolutely explode. Number 6, if you've been following my channel or subscribed to the channel all year long, or you follow my Twitter, you know I am the Devon Achane guy. Since last year in the draft, he was my must-draft running back, and he delivered in the semifinals. He did not lay down. He said, I'm running in for this touchdown when he could have needed. Saved fantasy football managers, 30 burger. Absolutely going to be a top pick next year. And when I tell you guys to draft people, you draft this guy. Everyone was like, oh, this guy, he can't handle the workload. He's too small. He's going to get injured. Injuries happen to everyone, man. You just got to play the risk. You got to see the player. You got to see the system. You got to look at the coach, how it works. Devon Achane's receiving work is absolutely insane. And when they get a better offensive line next year to the draft and offseason, look out. The sky is the limit for this guy. Now, you're going to get the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns are probably going to have DTR at QB. Terrible. Now, they are good versus the running back. They rank 6th, give it 18.8, but the receiving work is where Achane does it, besides that explosion last week. 86.7 yards and a 90% chance of a touchdown. You're starting this guy every single week regardless. Number 7, Chase Brown. The Cincinnati Bengals are rolling. They have found the fire, but it may be too late for them. And I'm going to tell you right now on stream what's going to happen here. So the Bengals are going to play the Broncos. They need the Broncos to lose twice. They need the Chargers to lose twice to stay alive for the playoff hunt. But here's what's going to happen. The Bengals are going to beat the Denver Broncos this week. And then next week, the Broncos get the Chiefs, who will be locked up. And they are going to let the Denver Broncos win because they do not want to see Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase in the playoffs. Now, on to this game. The Denver Broncos defense going up against Chase Brown here. So the Broncos, like I said all year long, is one of my favorite defenses, but they've been struggling versus the run lately. They dropped to 17th, giving up 22.7, 80.9 yards allowed, and a 50% chance of a touchdown. You got to like Chase Brown. This guy's been absolutely electric, averaging almost 20 points over the past 8 weeks. He's a must-start running back. Number 8, King Henry delivered in every single way King Henry could but the end zone last week. He crushed all the yards. People were scared to start him. You'd never be scared to start King Henry. I know you get a matchup with the Texans this week. The Texans rank 5th versus the running back, allowing 18.7 points, 81 yards, and a 50% chance of a touchdown. Do not overthink it. Start King Henry. This man's going to deliver. Number 9, Josh Jacobs. Man, he could have dropped 40 last night against the Saints. They saved him. They knew the game was over. I called 34-10 on stream. It was very close. I even said they wouldn't score. I just gave him a touchdown to be nice. Oh, I almost hit that nail on the head on that one. This guy has been absolutely everything advertised like when he was a top running back for the Raiders. Now he's just destroying fantasy football. I think he could have had 9 straight 20-point games right there if he wanted to. I mean, Packers kind of laid him down. Josh Jacobs, you're going up against the Minnesota Vikings here. Big division game. Vikings are very good versus the running back. They rank 3rd, giving up 17.7. 71 yards they allow, which is top 5, and a 40% chance of a touchdown, but I don't care. Josh Jacobs' usage is insane. You start this man regardless. Running back number 10, and I'm going to grab both when I have a double. Rachaad White down here at 22. So Bucky Irving, for the first time on the season, looked like he took the job. This is my first time ever ranking him in the top 10. The Carolina Panthers guys are your fantasy football pot of gold versus the running back. They give up 29.4 points. That's 2 points per game average more than any other team. 31st in the red zone, 141.1 rushing yards they allow, which is dead last by about a 35-yard average. That's how bad they get beat by the run. 1.1 rushing TDs allowed, which is also dead last. I mean, Rachaad White, depends on this game script goes. Bryce Young and Dave Canales, he's kind of turned his career around. The head coach there, he's called the QB Whisperer, so he obviously knows what he's doing there. Rachaad White looked really bad last week, but saved it garbage time receiving work. Could you see Rachaad White be a decent flex play this week? I'm low end on it. Heading over to running back number 11, James Get Silly Cook pops another big one, another 100-yard game, another touchdown. Now they're going to get a matchup here. Josh Allen needs to bounce back after what happened last week. you're going to get the Jets. And look what Kyron Williams just did to the Jets. So the Jets are decimated. Their season's over. Yes, they're good versus the running back, but they're not really going to be playing everyone, I don't think, in this game. You're smashing James Cook into your lineup. Number 12. Now, this one, he's back here now. I got him back up. It's going to be Breece Hall. So you're going to say, why Breece Hall? Well, it looks like Aaron Rodgers is going to play through his MCL sprain. So it's going to help the offense there. But what you have to look at with Breece Hall, so last week, 48% of the snaps, right? Ugly. Then he gets 77% of the snaps versus the Rams. That's what you want to see. That's where Breece Hall thrives. He drops 14 fantasy points. I like Breece Hall again this week. Number 13, the riskiest of them all, Aaron Jones. This matchup versus the Green Bay Packers, middle of the pack, right? Aaron Jones is just that weird guy. It's just that, his snap share, it just trips me out when I read it, right? So if I'm looking at it, right, he's the hardest guy to rank all year long. Superstar when he's out there, floor of 10 points. I get all that. 82% snaps last week and got 12 points. He hasn't had 82% snaps since week 8. So he's been 50, 60, 79, then back to 50, then back to 70, then back to 60. It's all over the place with the Vikings. Game script or not, that was a close game. Yeah, he saw 18 touches. It was rough for Seattle. Saw a little receiving work, wasn't great, didn't find the end zone. And the Packers, they ranked 15th versus the running back, 22.2, fourth in the red zone, so very tough touchdown upside there for him. 102.9 yards, which is bottom 10, and a 60% chance of a touchdown. I still like Aaron Jones, but it's always tough for me. Number 14, Joe Mixon, the guy that I was low on last week, and you guys kind of screamed at me in the comments. Dude, look what happened. Joe Mixon, 8 points, 10 points in the back-to-back 2 games here. He has another tough Baltimore run D here. There could be better options for you to flex this week, guys. I'm not even kidding. And I know Joe Mixon's usage is crazy. I know all of this. But you're getting the Baltimore Ravens. They rank 8th versus the running back, 20.6. But they only give up 65.6 yards on the ground, which is second best. So expect there to be some receiving work for him because they give up 6.7 targets a game to the running back. So the receiving work is where Joe Mixon is going to thrive this week. But I don't like him on the ground. I don't like any of the rushing here. Number 15, and this one is going to be temper your expectations because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers front is absolutely disgusting. Look what happened to Rico Dowdle. They couldn't even run the ball, period. No one has ran against Tampa at all. They're back healthy in the front. Now, Chuba Hubbard, I know he popped off for 32.5, so you're going to be like, oh, he's a must start this week. It is very, very sketchy start this week for Chuba Hubbard. He would have to do it through the passing game because that is where Tampa struggles the most. They're just like the Ravens. They give up 6.5 targets, and they give up the most receiving yards on the year just behind the Ravens. So they're 2 and 3. So it's going to have to be the receiving work here for Chuba, or 1 and 2. Number 16, a guy I benched for Alexander Madison last week was Brian Robinson Jr. Absolutely the right call. Now, this week, you're going to get a different matchup here. You're going to get the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons, this is a big game for both teams here, especially playoff seeding, everything like that. The Atlanta Falcons versus the running back, they rank 11th. They're very good. They give up 20.9, 81.4 yards, 30% chance of a touchdown. Brian Robinson, decent flex play. Rough RB2 start in for a tough matchup here again. Number 17 is going to be Tony Pollard, and God damn it, can they stop having Tyjae Spears jack all of this guy's touchdowns? This matchup here is absolutely great again. I know he hasn't practiced the past 2 weeks. He's been injured. They're talking, their season's pretty much over. He's older. He's not that old, but he's older. And so they could get Tyjae Spears a little more work, but you're getting the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is your fantasy football pot of gold. They rank 31st. They give up 27.4. They're dead last in the red zone. 99.3 yards, which is bottom 15, and 1 touchdown a game, which ties for second last. Tyjae Spears back-to-back 20 bombs. Tony Pollard back-to-back good floor games. Mason Rudolph started to move the ball a little bit. You can flex either one of them. It's just, God, I wish there was just a Tony Pollard show and you could just let it shine. Number 18, Isaac Guerrero, supposed to be back at practice this week, according to Shanahan updates, so make sure you are paying attention. They do play on Monday night. I do expect him to be out there in this game. You're going to get the Detroit Lions defense, which is absolutely decimated. So throw all these rankings out the window. They rank 4th versus the running back, up 18.5, 68.2 yards, which is top 5, and an 80% chance for 1 rushing touchdown. But they have way too many injuries for that to even count to me. No way, shape, or form. I'm starting Guerrero as a strong flex play this week. We went over number 19 with Tyjae Spears. Number 20, you're going to have to watch the injury updates here as well. So Tyrone Tracy didn't have a good day on the ground last week, got the reception in the end zone. The play from Drew Lock and the Giants offense is just terrible. But God, this is your game you want. I mean, you want him to be out there healthy in this game. You get the Indianapolis Colts. This is my other fantasy football pot of gold team. They rank 25th, giving up 24.7, 109.7 yards they allow, which is bottom 10, and 90% chance of a touchdown, was ties for third last of the run back. You have to love this situation. Just got to pay attention to his injury updates moving in this game. Number 21, Rico Dowdle, and God, this is rough for him. He had a brutal stretch down the way with Tampa Bay last week. Couldn't run the ball at all. Like I said, their front is nasty. Now you get the Philadelphia Eagles. Probably the best defense all around, front seven, linebackers, corner safeties. The Eagles are nasty. It's going to be a very tough go for Rico Dowdle this week. Eagles are number 2 versus the running back. That's all you need to know. They're that good. Number 23, Jerome Ford, one of my smash plays last week because the Cincinnati Bengals can't stop anything. I told everyone to start him. He absolutely popped. The Cleveland Browns, though, their offense is shot. I mean, they're going to roll out DTR again, it looks like. The Miami Dolphins are very good versus the run. They're susceptible to the receiving work. You saw Pierre Strong out there a little bit as well. I mean, Jerome Ford, yeah, could he be a 10-point play? Yes, I like him as a flex play. It's just a very tough matchup. You saw what happened to Patrick Taylor. I mean, this is a very good front seven. You can't run against Miami. Number 24, if you want to start this guy, it is up to you. I'm still going to keep him in my rankings, but I think my call is going to come true, guys. So when Isaiah Pacheco came back, he had the same injury as Jalen Waddle that had it last year, and Jalen Waddle still doesn't look really the same. And Isaiah Pacheco is a freight train running back. So I was like, my call is that once he returns, he's never going to drop 10 fantasy points for the rest of the season, and he hasn't yet. And if he survives this game without 10 points, that'll be one of my best calls of the year. If you want to throw Isaiah Pacheco out, you can. I am not throwing this guy out. Number 24, DeAndre Swift didn't do much on the ground again. Got a little receiving work done there. The Chicago Bears season's pretty much over. They're playing for chemistry for the next couple weeks here. And they're going to get the Seattle Seahawks. Short week game here as well. It's going to be on Thursday. So when you're looking at the Seahawks run D, they're about average in the middle. They give up 22.8. They're 19th, 106.8 yards, which is bottom 15 there, and a 60% chance of a touchdown. But you know Roshan's going to get the goal line work. DeAndre Swift's a very sketch start to me this week in the championship. Number 26, Ramondre Stevenson. The New England Patriots gave the fight that they could to the Buffalo Bills. Man, they held Josh Allen down. It was crazy. You're going to get the Chargers at home. The Chargers run D is phenomenal. Top 10. They're number 9 versus the run. 20.7 points they give up. 30% chance of a touchdown. They're very stingy in the red zone. Ramondre Stevenson could be a decent floor flex play this week if you need. I don't love it. I don't hate it. Number 28, you're going to have to pay attention to the J.K. Dobbins updates. I should have put his picture out there as well at the beginning. I did not do that. Could be out there, activated off IR. We don't know if he's going to make it to this game. Could be. If he does, I would put J.K. Dobbins about 16 to 18 range with Garendo, B-Rob, and Tony Pollard. So when you're looking at the game, the Chargers are going to get the Patriots run D. The Patriots run D ranks 23rd. They give up 24.4. They rank 30th in the red zone, so the touchdown upside is high. Same for Gus Bus if he's out in the red zone play. I can see Gus still getting the red zone work on JK's first game back too. 115.5 yards they allow on the ground, which is 4th worst in the NFL, and a 90% chance of a touchdown. So if JK rolls, I like him as a flex. If Gus rolls, I like him as a flex. Either way. Moving on to running back number 28 here, guys. Kendre Miller, I told you guys to stay away versus the Green Bay Packers. Absolutely did not hit. The matchup you're going to get here is versus the Raiders. We don't know the Alvin Kamara update yet, so make sure you're paying attention to that. If Alvin Kamara doesn't go, you can flex Kendre Miller if you want very low-end flex. The matchup is great versus the Raiders. Their season is over. The Raiders versus the running back rank 18th, getting up 22.7, 22nd in the red zone, so the touchdown upside is a lot higher there. 100.7 yards versus the middle of the pack and a 70% chance of a touchdown. Do I love Kendre Miller? Do I hate it? Oh, man, it's close. The Jags, I'm staying away from both. I cannot figure out what is going on. It'll be Tank Bigsby leading the way one week, ETN leading the way one week, Tank Bigsby leading the way the next week. I'm not touching it. I don't know what the hell's going on with the Jacksonville Jaguars and their offensive scheme right now. ETN is the better running back, man. It's absolutely bonkers. And the Jacksonville Jaguars this week are going to be in a matchup against the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans just got absolutely rocked by Jonathan Taylor. But do I think these running backs are Jonathan Taylor? No, I do not. The Tennessee Titans ranked 21st, giving up 24.2, 28th in the red zone. Obviously, they just gave up 3 TDs to JT, 98 yards. They just gave up 218. So all their numbers are bolstered. They are an average, decent run D. They just got crushed last week by JT. Alexander Madison, one of my sneaky flex plays last week, found the end zone. Very ugly. The Raiders' run game is horrible. Amir Abdullah finds the end zone. They get the New Orleans Saints. This matchup is great. They give up 25.1 on the ground. I mean, you just saw Josh Jacobs run him over in 1/2. So if you need a flex play, the Alexander Madison, not bad. I don't love it. I don't hate it. Amir Abdullah, very risky unless you're in a deeper league there. Najee Harris and Jalen Warren, doesn't get any worse. Pittsburgh Steelers going up against the Kansas City Chiefs, the number 1 run D in football, number 3 in the red zone, number 1 in yards allowed. I mean, not good here. Najee's not been himself. Jalen Warren had a decent game through the air last week, 10 plus fantasy points. That's fine. If you want to start him versus the Chiefs, that's completely up to you. It's a very tough defense. I do not like it. 35-36, Javonte Williams, I'm still going to rank ahead of Estimate, although Estimate came out as the guy, found the end zone. Javonte Williams got a little receiving work. You're not starting any of the Denver Broncos backs. If you are, you're crazy. The matchup is decent versus the Bengals. I mean, the Bengals are better versus the run than they are in any other category. They give up 22.9. They rank 20th. This defense is terrible all the way around. I mean, but this is their best spot if they have one.